Education is the Best Medicine, hosted by the Eyes of the Conscious Soul. Miss Howard will be on vacation with the family for the next 3 weeks, and I'll be subbing for her. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We had a little delay. We're starting a little bit an hour later, but that's okay. Better late than never, some people say. And I try to avoid color people time, but sometimes I run into it. I want to thank my niece, my granddaughter, for my scarf. Cute. I like it. I work out in it, so I wanted to tell her thank you. And I want to thank everybody, all the family that have supported me and continue to support me in this struggle as we transition. We're always transitioning. We're always growing. We're always doing the things we need to do. Remember, public access is your best bet. Curtis, I want to thank you for just your help and your support. And I want to thank all the folks, Etymology, Ms. Howard, Conscious Voices. I want to thank my great people that have supported me. Side. Hey, look at let's get together for lunch now. Come on, man. And Dr. Green and Miss just the folks to help me. They helped me be who I am. Nurse Rosalind, RN, just a super individual. We had, I guess, dinner a week or so back, and we kind of just kicked it and had conversation. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in, listening in. We're a little about an hour late, but that's okay. It's been a week of change and overall, just in life. And I'm a believer, as I've said before, and as I said last week, and God doesn't make mistakes, as I'll always say, and I want to affirm that fact. And whatever we go through in life, I believe it's supposed to happen, so we have to accept that and move forward. I'm blessed. I'm not in jail. There are no restrictions on me or my license or my movement. I don't have to appear in court on a daily basis. I can leave a job. I can enter another one without concerns. I believe that, again, things happen for a reason. Sometimes we don't think it should be that way, but that's not the way it is. I have a strong Baptist following family, and I'm just blessed to be there. And I thought about a whole bunch of things today, as I always do, and I thought about hopefully we're going to try to end the session, our talk, with a quick meditation session. It takes about 10 minutes, and I think it's just going to be good for us. About relaxation. Again, this is stress month, and we've just been on a lot of stress. And with the wars and rumor of wars have been a significant part of human history. And it got me in thinking about often leaving behind a legacy of both triumph and tragedy. I asked GPT chat about wars and rumors of wars. They have shaped societies, redrawn borders, and altered the course of civilizations. While some wars are remembered for their noble cause or heroic deeds, others invoke feelings of sorrow and regret for the immense loss of life and destruction that they have brought. While other wars are remembered for their noble causes or heroic deeds, others invoke feelings of sorrow and regret for the immense loss of life and destruction they brought. Remorse for wars can stem from various factors, including the realization of the fatality of violence, the suffering of afflicted or innocent civilians. We see that now in the Gaza war. We see that now in the Ukrainian war. Wars and rumors of war. Remembrance of war serves as a reminder of human cost of conflict and reinforces the importance of pursuing peaceful solutions to global challenges. Listen, we are a health show. No doubt about it. It's my mandate. But we have to also interject a discussion around what's going on in our world. What are the issue of social determinants? What is the issue of trauma? We speak about that all the time because in reality, we are dealing in dangerous times. It got me thinking about, do the right thing. This is a ethics question. It's one that has dominated my life. because ethics says that I understand that my benefit may be your detriment, is simply put. And so I thought about, simply do the right thing. And that, the Spike Lee movie, right? Do the right thing. But I also say that and I want you to understand that me and Mike Johnson, the head of the Republican Congress leadership, are as far apart as we possibly can be in terms of politics, in terms of all those things. But when a man stands up, when a human being stands up, then we have to give them their props, whether it be the young basketball player from Iowa who is going to get $76,000 for her being drafted number one as a female basketball player, which that don't sound right to me. The women outviewed the men this year in terms of who you knew who they were. Miss Reese out of LSU. That's a discussion about fairness and equity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. We'll talk about that one day. But I want to give a shout out to Mike Johnson, the Republican leader of leadership, for bringing forth the bills that would essentially, if not helped by the Democrats, cost him his job. And again, it's not a job that he asked for. It was a job after they kicked out the last speaker, Mr. McCarthy, and it was just a mess. This whole Republican Congress has been a mess. It's a study of what we don't want to happen in government, how we don't want to be led, and what things we need to change. We have to get out and vote. I'm starting that now. Go and vote. Vote. You have to vote. So, and again, he just sponsored and put forth under much consternation people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and these far right radicals that just want to burn things down. They don't want to lead. They want to burn things down. They want it dysfunctional. So, and he's an example in my mind. He's my picture postcard for doing the right thing. And as I said, I understand the dilemma. The right thing and ethics in this country. The right thing and ethics in this country. You stand on the things that are right. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. You'll be bruised, you'll be hurt, but you'll have to get up. You have to keep going. And I have always thought that my career was not mine. It was for all those who put faith and trust in me to do the right thing. And if it means I lose positions, if I don't get the promotion, I don't get the raise, then that's the way it goes, because I have to live standing, not live on my knees. And I think that, as my mom would say, love her, one of my best leadership models, God is in control. And I've always lived by that. I want to thank my sisters. I want to thank Fran Trice, and I want to thank my son, who recently removed from incarceration and trying to do the right thing. It's hard, when you're a man of color trying to do the right thing in a society that consistently thinks that you're doing the wrong thing. And sometimes you die from it. So it got me into thinking about the right thing in ethics and what do some of the major religions state about ethics. I asked GBT, and it says most major religions around the world provide guidance on ethics and doing the right thing, often through sacred texts and teachings and traditions. Here's a brief overview. Of course, number one is Christianity. How that happened. Emphasizes love, compassion, forgiveness, following the teachings of Jesus Christ. The 10 Commandments, as outlined in the Old Testament, provide a moral compass framework for believers. The Golden Rule, which encourages treating others as you'd like to be treated, is also central to the Christian ethics in a world of Christianity, in a United States that calls itself Christian, we're not doing a good job. We're just not doing a good job. And we're traumatizing a lot of people. We'll talk about that as it relates to the abortion issue. I got a whole bunch of stuff to cover, so we can hopefully we'll get through it before. I want to thank Believe Radio, 24-hour inspirational gospel music station, and the Conscious Voices, which is supporting the next 3 programs while Miss Howard goes on vacation with her, well-deserved with her family. I want to thank her too for being who she is. Leadership is always hard to do. Islam teaches ethical behavior through the Quran and the Hadith, saying the actions of the Prophet Muhammad. Concepts such as justice, mercy, honesty, charity are emphasized. Do you know 3/4 of the world is Muslim? They believe in Islam. They believe in the Quran. Christianity is a small slice of the religious pie in the world, and you may like it or not like it. It's what people believe. We have to respect what people believe. We have to respect what people think and who they are, even though we may not agree with it, even though their gender would look. You say, no, you're not that. If they believe who they are, I think they have the right to have that belief and say, this is who I am, and to embrace that. We can't determine someone's life journey for them. We have to let them take that life journey themselves. So, and I think Islam, again, teaches ethical behavior through the Quran. The 5 pillars of Islam, which include acts of worship and charity, also guides Muslims in leading an ethical life. I'm going to go through all these religions, but the discussion is that most of them have a common thread about ethics, about reciprocity, about leadership, about caring, common. Judaism. Ethical principles are outlined in the Torah and expanded in the Talmud and other Jewish texts. The concept of Tamaka Olam, meaning repairing the world, encourages Jews to engage in acts of kindness, charity, and social justice. The 10 Commandments and other laws provide a moral code for Jewish life. Do you think what's going on now is that reflective of the Jewish principles? Is the murder of young kids, of mothers, in line with those Jewish principles? I think we need to do a reset. War, again, is not a benefit, is not healthy for living things. Hinduism emphasizes the concept of dharma, which encompasses moral duties, righteousness, and ethical conduct. The Bhagavad Gita, a sacred text within Hinduism, discusses the importance of fulfilling one's duty without attachment to the results. Compassion, nonviolence, ashmina, a respect for all living beings are central to ethical principles. Buddhism teaches the importance of ethical conduct as the part of the Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right action, right speech, right livelihood. The 5 precepts give Buddhists in avoiding harmful actions such as killing, stealing, and lying. Compassion, mindfulness, and non-harming are key ethical principles. Sikhism emphasizes the importance of honest living, sharing with others, practicing selfless service. Seva, concept of Vaya and Chako, encourages sharing with others and serving the community. Sikhs also expect to uphold moral virtues such as honesty, humility, and compassion. Ethics, a pathway. The religions of the world all have a common thread about ethics. And these are kind of like encapsulations of these religions A small encapsulation, a sliver, but you get the picture. So, what do some of the world leaders say about ethics and about doing the right thing? World leaders throughout history have expressed various perspectives on ethics and doing the right thing. Here are some of the noble quotes from past world leaders on this topic. Mahatma Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Gandhi emphasized the importance of selflessness, nonviolence, and serving others for the greater good. You should read about him. A major component of the nonviolence movement. It's who Martin Luther King learned from. And he was a man of simplicity. No ornaments, just a very simple person. Mother Teresa, simple. Nelson Mandela, what counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived, is what's the difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life that we live. Mandela's commitment to justice, reconciliation, and forgiveness remains an inspiration for ethical leadership. Mandela spent almost 20 years of his life in jail as a political prisoner. And when he came out, he wasn't bitter. He was bitter in the fact that he wanted the country to heal so they could move forward. He became their nation's greatest leader, one of their nation's greatest leaders, and sat at the feet of apartheid and walked it out the door. Again, I want to thank Mike Jackson for his leadership, for his ethics, for his bipartisan leadership and ethics. This is what America is built on. This is being an American. Even making decisions when you know won't benefit you is for the decisions to benefit the whole, to benefit your world standing, to benefit that you understand the importance of ethical leadership, of doing the right thing. Martin Luther King, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. King advocated for nonviolent resistance against oppression and discrimination, emphasizing the moral imperative to fight for the equality and injustice. And I always emphasize that Martin Luther King was assassinated. He should be living with us now. He was murdered. John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, murdered. John Kennedy, murdered. With a handgun, with a rifle. It's always kind of interesting to me the most nonviolent people sometimes die the most violent deaths. Ask Emmett Till about a violent death. Ask George Floyd about a violent death. Ask a black woman sitting up with her man when police come in and shoot their apartment up. Brianna, we hear you, Brianna. Understand her granddaughter's loss as she's shot 4 times in the chest. She never recovers. My baby. Abraham Lincoln, you cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Lincoln's leadership during the American War and his commitment to ending slavery reflected his courage to ending slavery and reflected his belief in moral responsibility. This is where I kind of differ. When you look at the discussions around Abraham Lincoln, his discussion was saving the Union. He had no feeling about slavery for or against. His objective was to save the Union. And if freeing slaves, the Emancipation Proclamation brought that about, he was more for it. But freeing slaves or ending slavery was never his goal. He had to fight a civil war. He had to, and we talked about that. We'll continue to go through that piece. That's why I bring these things up. So you can get a nexus of how history plays so much in how people act or don't act. Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill got me to wearing bow ties, by the way. So him and Tom Keaton of Bloomberg, super guy. Look him up. Just the architect of business. One of the made business clear to me, made the stock market clear to me as a white male. with a bow tie and rich as hell, probably. Anyway. Winston Churchill said, courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. Churchill's leadership during World War II and his willingness to make difficult decisions underscore the importance of courage and integrity in leadership. At great cost. It's always a great cost to do the right thing. Doing the right thing means that above all else, it's important that you have an ethical and moral base. Eleanor Roosevelt. What's missing in this list is Black women. You know, a Black woman, a woman of color. Those are the women that are missing from this courage and ethics discussion. I should have asked that question. I might even ask for that job. Eleanor Roosevelt. Do you do what you feel in your heart to be the right for you, or will be criticized anyway? Roosevelt was a champion of human rights and social justice, emphasizing the importance of following one's conscience and standing for what is right, even in the face of criticism. Back to Mike Johnson, his whole party's against him in America for doing the right thing. They want to kick him out of his job for doing the right thing. So anytime you are in a situation where you have to do the right thing, the people around you are not doing the right thing, you're going to be odd person out. Accept it. And you can throw it to any analogies, whether it be your faith, your principle, whatever it is. You're going to be the odd person out. Unless it's bizarre. Unless it's for self-interest, unless it's for a group and your group only. Napoleon Bonaparte, the strong man is one who's able to intercept at will and communicate between senses and the mind. Napoleon's leadership style and ambition highlight the complexity of ethical decision-making and the importance of self-awareness of leadership. And doing the right thing is deeply intertwined in the concept of actions and decisions in various aspects of life. Doing the right thing often implies acting in a morally justifiable or virtuous manner. With ethics refers to the moral principles that govern our behavior and interactions with others, because you have to stand to the light, right? You have to stand up and say, this is what I believe in. This is the kind of care I'm going to provide. This is what's ethical. This is what the science says. It's amazing, my career measure, how many unscientific decisions are made just for expediency. And it's unfair. Ethics provides a framework for evaluating what is right, what is wrong, what is good or bad or just unjust in our conduct. It involves considering the consequences of our actions, respecting the rights and dignity, and adhering to the principles such as honesty, integrity, fairness, and compassion. That's why it's hard to be ethical. That's why it's hard to do the right thing, because it usually encourages to that person that's being ethical or doing the right thing a loss. In such situations, ethical reasoning involves weighing various factors and considering the potential consequences of different courses of actions. You make an intelligent view. When I practice, and I've tried to practice medicine, that's why it's so important for me to have shared decision making. That's why it's so important to talk about the 5 stages of change. That's why it's important to do no harm. Ultimately, doing the right thing often requires, remember back to Spike Lee, right? Ultimately, doing the right thing often requires making difficult decisions and acting with integrity, even in the face of challenges or temptations. It involves striving to uphold ethical principles and values, both personal and professional context, thereby contributing to and thereby contributing to a more just and harmonious society. And again, looking at our future, it makes us go through challenges and challenges. I've always tried to be an ethical person. I think my family's brought that to the table with me. And my dad would always say, you have to do the right thing when no one's looking. That stuck with me. Even today, I think of it because he's right. When everyone's doing the wrong thing, you have to be the ethical person and stand up and do the right thing, even though they'll cost you friends, it can cost you jobs, it can cost you, any of that. I'd rather stand than live on my knees. But unfortunately, a lot of structures are about maintaining the structures. Again, that's party over country. Whenever you make a decision, in this case, we'll go Republican and Democrat, about your party versus the country, then you're not American, because Americans subjugate to the whole. And what we see now is when people don't want to subjugate to you, you lose. So when people stand up and do the right thing, like Mr. Johnson, he gets a standing ovation and supported by the people that would have supported him because he's doing the right thing. And you have to stand on the right thing, right? Stand on the right thing. And he said that throughout. I've watched him love his conversation. He's not worried about it. He's worried about getting these bills passed because America needs to show the support for its neighbors. Ethical. And not to preserve their self-interest. Well, where is all this going? Well, the Bible, and I'm not a Bible person, but I think it's one of the texts you should go to have some discussions about ethics, morality. Again, it's an African document, by the way. The Bible takes place in Africa. It doesn't take place in Europe. It takes place in Africa. Egypt, Africa. The Bible offers numerous teachings and principles related to doing the right thing in ethical context, particularly in the context of moral behavior and interpersonal relationships. One key aspect emphasized throughout the Bible is the importance of integrity and righteousness, even when faced with situations where others might be doing wrong or when no one else is looking. Thanks, Daddy. Here are some of the few biblical concepts related to doing the right thing in ethics. Golden rule. One of the teachings of Jesus found in the Bible is the golden rule, which is to treat others as you would want them to treat you. Matthew 7:12. The principle emphasizes empathy, kindness, fairness in our interaction with others, regardless of their actions. Turn the other cheek, hard. Vengeance, hard. But if you're following the principle, revenge is God's, not yours. Integrity and honesty. The Bible speaks about the importance of honesty and integrity in all aspects of life. Proverbs 10:9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. This is just that even when no one else is watching, maintaining integrity is crucial. Told you it was hard. Accountability to God. Biblical teachings often emphasize that ultimately believers are accountable to God for their actions, whenever seen by others or not. Hebrews 4:13 says, nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes, and to him whom we must give account. Conscience and conviction. The Bible teaches believers should listen to their conscience, which can be seen as a moral compass guided by God's principle. Romans 2:15 describes how conscience bears witness so that it is right and wrong, even when others may not be aware of actions. Examples of righteousness. Through the Bible, there are numerous examples of individuals who chose to do the right thing, even in the face of adversity or even when others were acting unjustly. For example, Joseph's integrity in resisting Potiphar's wife's advances. Genesis 39. Daniel's commitment to prayer despite facing opposition. Daniel 6 are celebrated examples of righteousness. The summary is the Bible encourages believers to uphold ethical principles, act with integrity, and do what is right, even when others may be doing wrong or when no one is watching. It emphasizes the importance of living to God's standards and being accountable to Him for our actions. And again, what came to mind again was this PBS special on Ken Barrington's Civil War. Like I said, I didn't watch it, but it gives us a great narrative about African Americans and what we went through going through war. And I bring this up because we are blessed. We've been blessed on this country and this planet, in this area called America, not to be engaged in a physical war, but we are engaged in a civil war. We are engaged in the minds and hearts of the ethical nature, and we speak to that as we tell folks to understand the issues of the day. I think one of the things for us as people of color, particularly African American, is that the agendas that people have been running on us have not been for our benefit. I refuse to be a party that I will not work until the day that I would work against until the day I die. So again, I was watching this special on PBS and listening to some of the discussions around Civil War and its place in our history. And it gets to me into going about what's going on with the country now. And our need to change. Stages of change is a trans-theoretical model called TTM, was developed by Prescott and De Clemente in the late 70s and around the 1980s. It describes the process for individuals to go through when making a significant behavioral change. The model outlines 5 key stages through which people particularly progress. Stage 1, pre-contemplation. In this stage, individuals are not yet considering change. The biggest issues, why am I bringing up the biggest issues in American medicine is behavioral change. Either you change or you be changed by the change. If you don't review the process for changing, how can you change? Those who do the same thing get the same results. So pre-contemplation. In this stage, individuals are not yet considering changing their behavior. They may be aware of the need for change or resistance to the idea. They might underestimate the problem and feel hopeless about their ability to change. Not uncommon. Contemplation. You think. Rodin's the thinker. He was just thinking, right? He never moves, right? He's like this, but he never moves. Caught in, as a good friend of mine, Jeffrey, people say, the paralysis of analysis. Contemplation. In the contemplation stage, individuals begin to recognize the need for change and start considering the possibility of taking action. They might weigh the pros and cons of changing their behavior and may feel ambivalent about making a commitment to change. Preparation. So pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation. Like exercise, you have to warm up, you have to get ready. You have to be in the mind, I'm going to make that walk. I'm going to do those calisthenics. I'm going to eat better, plant-based, less meat, less sugar. I'm going to take care of my mental and physical and spiritual health. That could be the action. Stage action Preparation. During the preparation stage, individuals are actively planning to take action in the near future. The future, right? The future could be anytime. I say get a time, get a place, pick a date. Like we ask people to stop smoking, pick a date to stop smoking. Pick a date to change your habits. Pick a date and stick to it. Which gets us to access. I don't want to think Parthena and anointed hands. Gets me to discussion around preparation or exercise. There's no ever a good time to or not to exercise. You have the best conditions or the worst conditions. You still have to complete that task. Let me start by small steps toward behavior change, such as gathering information, setting goals, or seeking support from others. They're getting ready to make change within the next month. Action. The action involves actually doing that to achieve the desired effect. Individual says works without action are no works at all. Individuals are implementing their action plans and making efforts. Preparation, action plan. Those that's the core. Preparation and action. Because you can think about it all the time. You can think about it all the time. But preparation and then the action, that's the keys to that. Maintenance. And once maintenance, individuals have a successful change their behavior. They enter a maintenance phase. During the phase, they work to sustain changes they made and integrate those change behavior into their daily life. Action, again, the action involves modifying behavior to achieve the desired effect. Individuals are implementing their action plans and making specific efforts to change their behavior. It is consistent in addiction and abuse and dependency and trauma that you need to be able to change the behavior. And changing the behavior is a 5-step process. Pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance. I can't run. You can walk. Water aerobics, stationary bicycle. Quit being self-defeating. In addition to the 5 stages, the model to recognize the possibility of relapse, where individuals may return to the earlier stages of the change or experience setbacks or challenges. Relapse is considered a normal part of the change process. A normal part of the change process. And individuals can learn from these experiences to renew their commitment. Why did I bring in behavioral change? Because one of the major concerns around the folks that I take care of is addiction. And they have a stages of addiction. And just like the stages of addiction, you layer that with behavioral change to change the state of addiction. So you go from identifying the stages of addiction to a action plan for pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, understanding there's relapse in that behavior. Stages of addiction. Why are I bringing this up? Because in the top 10 issues, substance abuse rates up there with concerns and issues for people. It's one of the medical issues that we're concerned with. We worry about physical activity. We worry about proper food consumption. We're worried about substance use disorders. Mood disorders include depression and anxiety. So substance can cause mood disorders, or mood disorders can cause substance use. So they're interfacing together. It is 3:30. We're 38 minutes of the show. I want to thank Believe Radio. Hey, look here. We are involved in a drive to be recognized one of the better radio / computer system for information. Believe Radio is up for an award. Visit our email website and find out how you can vote. So that we can get this thing. In fact, I'm going to talk with Adam next week about how we get folks, and I'm going to put this up on the screen to go and vote for our station. I really would appreciate it. So Stages of addiction, experimentation. This stage typically involves initial exposure to a substance or a behavior. Individuals may experiment out of curiosity, peer pressure, or other social influences. At this stage, substance use or engagement in the addictive behavior is sporadic and may not yet have a significant negative consequence. Let me be clear. Addiction is a physiological, mental, and spiritual issue. A physiological, mental, and spiritual issue. It's a chemical issue. It's a physical issue. It's a mental issue. It's a historical issue. It's a genetic issue. It's just not people are bad and they want to use drugs or whatever it is they're doing. This is why we talk about adverse childhood experiences, because they shape our addiction patterns. We're just seeing now how adverse child experience contributes so much trauma for adults. Regular use of or engagement. In this stage, individuals use the substance or engage in addictive behavior more frequently. It becomes a regular part of their routine. They start to experience some pleasurable effects. However, they may not still believe they still have control of the use of their behavior, may not recognize any negative consequence for anything you do. The first experience is the best experience. Name them. The first experience is the best experience. After that, it's a lock and key. The chemical factors, the environmental factors, the social factors, the genetic factors are in place for a person to become addicted. We all have the risk of being or becoming addicted to whatever. Probable use or behavior. An individual continue to use a substance or engage in addictive behavior that may start to experience negative consequences. These could be used as a physical health problem, relationship problem, financial difficulties, or legal problems. And despite that, they still use. All the risk issues they still use. Despite these consequences, individuals may struggle to cut back and stop. Some of the gender issues, men take more substance than women because of the body type and hormone differences. But in my experience, women tend to stay in use a little bit longer because they hide it well. And they're able to support it economically. So the discussions around this take on a gender, environmental, again, adverse child experiences plays major. One might want to look at adverse child experiences as a premier. We're seeing it now. That's how it affects it. It's intergenerational trauma. Dependency or addiction. At this stage, individuals have developed a dependency on the substance or behavior. They may experience cravings, tolerance, needing more of the substance or behavior to achieve desired effect, withdrawal symptoms when not used or engaged in. Addiction is characterized by loss of control over the use or behavior, continuing to use despite negative consequences, and preoccupation with obtaining and using the substance engaging behavior. Recovery and treatment. This is the fifth stage. Again, addiction, right? This stage involves seeking and making efforts to overcome addiction. Recovery can be a long and challenging process that often involves professional treatment, support from peers and loved ones. It is a global approach. It's a hands approach. It's a wraparound approach. It's a shared decision-making approach. It's a patient-centered approach. It's a trauma-informed care approach. It's a do no harm approach. A lot of people don't get into treatment because they don't like the abuse. They don't like the blaming. They don't like the backbiting. They don't like the, they're discounting them as a human being. I have a picture of a couple, white couple, and I've been working in addiction service, and he gave me the picture. I still have it today. He said, "Hey, look, I was someone before I became addicted to drugs." Never. Couldn't have said it more clear. We all are somebody before things change us. Again, April stress month. My goodness. Yeah, we're in a lot of stress. And one of the ways that we can address that stress is through meditation. In the last 10 minutes of the show, I'm going to kind of see if this little hookup that I got works for us to do a meditation exercise. And just so we're not lost in the roots of the Civil War can be traced back to the nation's founding. The issue of slavery dividing the North and the South. The slavery kind of relied heavily on slave labor, which the North was moving toward, and the North was moving toward industrialization and abolished slavery in many of the states, but it still had not. Slavery had the unique effect of supporting North and South in terms of the United States. Both benefited in one way or another. Although the more of the abolitionists came from the North, it was still slavery. And the election of Abraham Lincoln to oppose the expansion of slavery into new territories prompted several Southern states to secede from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. The war officially began in Confederate attack on Fort Sumter in 1861. The conflict saw significant battles such as Gettysburg, Antietam, Shiloh. It was marked by strategies such as General Sherman's March to the Sea. March to the Sea. Why did I bring that up? Because March to the Sea seems to be a discussion around where Jewish people are supposed to be pushed or Arab people are supposed to be pushed. I think it's depending on who you're talking to, who needs to get pushed to the sea. The conflict saw significant battles. The Union's victory in 1865. Why are we bringing up 1865? I think the Arizona law that promotes this draconian abortion issue was in 1863, 1865, around the 1860s. I'm going to see, but again, that's why it's significant and why abortion is significant. The Union's victory in 18 led to the abolition of slavery in the 13th Amendment and the reintegration of Southern states to the Union. However, the war left deep scars on the nation, with an estimated 620,000 soldiers killed in the South, devastated economically, and that is going on today. You will not replace me. The good old days. Make America great again. Okay. Lessons from America on the Civil War in 2024. Division and polarization. The Civil War serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of deep political, social, economic divisions within a nation. In 2024, America continues to grapple with polarization, highlighting the importance of fostering unity and finding common ground despite differences. Thank you, Speaker Johnson. Struggling. The importance of leadership. Civil War showcased the critical role of leadership in times of crisis. Leaders like Abraham Lincoln demonstrated resolve, empathy, and vision in navigating the nation through its darkest hour. In 2024, in fact, we have went through this before. And when good men spoke up, when good men act, evil cannot survive that. When good people speak up, when good people act, evil cannot survive. The forces to separate us and degenerate us and make us less than who we are cannot survive that onslaught of goodwill of people and ethics and foundation. The struggle for equality. Civil War was fundamental about the struggle for freedom and equality, particularly concerning the institution of slavery. In the present day, America continues to current issues of systemic racism, inequality, and social justice. Reflecting on Civil War underscores the ongoing need for progress toward a more equitable society. Resilience and reconstruction. Following the Civil War, the nation embarked on a period of reconstruction to build and reunify. The era was marked by efforts to address the legacy of slavery, promote civil rights, and rebuild Southern infrastructure. In 2024, America faces its own challenge in rebuilding communities, addressing economic disparities, and ensuring a bright future for all Americans. For all Americans. And that brings me to the mention of the Arizona abortion law of 1864. I told you I'd tie this together. The mention of the Arizona abortion law of 1864 seems to be a misnomer. This is called the GQ chat. as Arizona did not become its territory until the 20th century and did not have statehood until 1912. However, the issue of abortion and women's rights during the Civil War is still relevant. During the mid-19th century, abortion was illegal in the United States. We've been here before, people. The control of women's rights, the legality of abortion has been an ongoing, as old as America. As old as the Civil War. And we're still fighting the same fight. My daughter cannot grow up, my granddaughters cannot grow up in a world where they're unsafe medically more so than my mother or my sisters. That's not fair. 3/4 of the country have restrictions on a woman's body, her right to choose. Why is that? Because it's a white male legislatures that are making these laws and want us to eat them. That's why you have to vote. That's why your voice has to be heard. You've been doing it, but we need to do more. During the 19th century, abortion was generally illegal in the United States. Although, and a lot of women died because of that. A lot of women were died. A lot of women of color. This abortion issue doesn't affect rich women as it does women of color and poor women of color that can't not take 3 hours, as this young woman was saying, to go get an abortion. Carrie Lake. That's her answer in Arizona. A woman has to drive 3 hours and may die within that 3 hours to get an abortion. But you can't do it in Arizona. Not in Arizona. The focus was primarily on issues such as suffrage, property rights. Women's issues were probably on suffrage, property rights, and access to education rather than abortion. However, the discussions about reproductive rights and women's autonomy over their bodies were a part of the broader conversation of gender equality and social reform. The Civil War era saw the emergence of prominent women's rights activists such as Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Sojourner Truth, who advocated for women's suffrage. And she said, "Ain't I a woman?" Ain't I a woman? While these activists do not specifically address abortion rights during the period because they're too busy fighting everything else, their advocacy laid the groundwork for future movements that would encompass reproductive rights. Additionally, the Civil War had a significant impact on women's roles and opportunities. With the many men serving in the military, women took on new responsibility in the workforce, as they've done today, in volunteering and managing households. These changes contribute to shifts in societal attitudes toward women and their capabilities. The hypothetical scenario enacting the 1864 law on abortion in the context of recent developments regarding Roe v. Wade would have been significant implications and ramifications for abortion rights and reproductive rights in the United States. The impact of abortion access, enacting a law similar to Arizona in 1864, would likely have prevented or severely restricted abortion, would greatly limit access to abortion services. This would particularly affect individuals in Arizona, and particularly set a precedent for other states to enact similar restrictive laws, further reducing access to safe and legal abortions across the country. So we see that this is nothing new. We've done this before. Legal challenge, any attempt to reenact a law restricting abortion would likely face legal challenge, particularly in light of the Supreme Court's landmark decision Roe versus Wade in 1973, which recognized the constitutional right to abortion. You know, that's been recalled, right? Reacting such a law would lead to legal battles, ultimately reaching the Supreme Court for a Roe versus Wade, which it did, which they voted it down. Public health value. Public health impact. Restriction on abortion access have access public health and implications. Without access to safe and legal abortion, individuals may resort to safe and potentially life-threatening methods of terminating pregnancies, leading to an increased maternal mortality. Restrictions on abortion Also, disproportionate affect marginalized communities, exacerbating existing health disparities. I'm sure you get the picture. This is why the 1864 law is draconian in nature. This is why it needs to be built back. This is why we need to have an ethical base. This is why we need to be doing the right thing when no one's watching. This is why women need our help and in order to do what we need to do. It's a significant regression in women's rights. So I've got 5 minutes here, and what I want to do is kind of relax us out. And it's something that I started doing. This is not the one I want. Okay. Okay, relax. Get in a comfortable place, relax, listen to what she's saying. Hold for a couple of seconds, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. This a few times until you feel relaxed and centered. Deep breath, stay centered, relax your body, let your mind go blank. Stay in the quietness of yourself. Now return to your normal breathing pattern, in and out of your nose. Breathe easily and freely, in and out. Letting yourself relax to the best of your ability. Allow whatever surface you're on to fully support you. Gently bring your attention to your body. Start with a quick sweeping scan from the top of your head down to your toes. And as you scan, notice any areas of tension, discomfort, or pain. Don't try to change anything. Just observe and be curious about what you're feeling. As you scan, remind yourself that your body is doing the best it can. Notice sending warmth and love to each part of your body. Now let's go on a slower tour of your lovely body. Bringing awareness to your scalp and forehead. Allow yourself to relax your forehead. Feel your muscles loosening their grip. Allow your skin to smooth out. Notice a comfortable feeling of relaxation growing in your scalp
and forehead. Pay attention to the area around your eyebrow. Permit your eyebrows to lower down into their natural position. Allow your eyes to be closed ever so gently, so softly that you feel the muscles behind your eyes soften. Feel a wave of relaxation flowing down through the top of your face. Your entire face feeling a pleasant sense of release. Total relaxation of your facial muscles. Gently notice if there's any tension in your jaw. Part your teeth and lips slightly and feel the relaxation as it travels along your jawline and cheek. Lips totally slack. Let your jaw drop down, softening the throat. As you move your focus onto your neck, just notice any tension or discomfort in your neck muscles and allow them to release. Your head and neck aligned into a comfortable position. Let yourself feel your posture, no matter where in the world you are. And grant yourself permission to be kind to yourself and let go. Allow your shoulders to relax down away from your ears. Invite that lovely relaxation to develop deep inside your muscles. Relax any tension you may be holding in your arms. Let the relaxation spread down your arms into your hands and fingers. Arms heavy and warm. Let your fingers gently unfurl so your palms are slightly open. And put your arms into a comfortable position so they can continue to rest. Bring your awareness to your chest, your heart, your lungs. Your heartbeat and breathing calm and steady. Allowing your attention to rest at your heart center, the most beautiful feature of your body. Scan the love and warm embrace held right there in your heart. Take in a deep breath and hold for 3 counts. Feel the stretch in your ribcage. Then let out the breath slowly and evenly. Feel the tension release from the middle of your body. Let's move through to your abdomen and digestive system, scanning how it feels today. Feel a sense of relaxation develop deep inside your abdominal cavity, deep into your digestive system. Feel that sense of well-being that comes from being able to fully let go. Your stomach feeling soft and warm. And extend your loving attention down to your lower back, tailbone, and hips. Notice if there is any tension there. Allow the muscles of your lower back and hips to take a well-deserved rest. The ligaments loosening, resting fully. Become aware of your pelvic area and allow yourself to relax those inner muscles. Feel space expand between your pelvic bones. You scan. Everything is exactly as it should be. Let your hip and pelvic area relax. Resting your awareness on your thighs, offer up gratitude and affection for your legs. Invite a wave of relaxation to circulate through your thighs, down into your knees. Space expanding through your knee joint and down through your entire leg. Your thighs, knees, and calves feel so relaxed, they feel as though they have become heavier. Allow them to sink even deeper. The relaxation spreading down into the tiny muscles and bones of your ankles and feet. The feeling of easiness continues, spreading into your body.
I want to thank you for listening to the show. You can continue the meditation. Hopefully, you're not driving or operating machinery. Relax. Take care. Look at some apps on about medication. Total body relaxation. I want to thank you for watching, and we will have you come back next week on Education is the Best Medicine. Take care. Be peaceful.
Through a lens of love, warmth, and kindness.